Good afternoon, folks. This is Robert Chappell, Executive Editor of Madison365, with your daily update for the 30th of November. Tomorrow is December 1st, which is, I don't know, it just seems crazy. We always say that. We always say, like, boy, this month really went fast. But, like, this year, everything is going both really fast and really slow at the same time. It's very strange. Okay, so a couple of things. One big thing I want to mention before we get into the numbers, and that is that it seems as though I still have to get this confirmed by the state data folks. But it appears that we've had our first fatality in Wisconsin of someone under the age of 20. It popped up on social media where I saw it last night. But the principal at Madison East High School, Brendan Kearney, sent an email to students and families last night about 5 o'clock saying that Isai Maracho is a junior who enjoyed theater, talked about starting his own business, talked about becoming a chef, had died over Thanksgiving break after a brief COVID-related illness. It's not real clear what a COVID-related illness is, except that I did double check with the school district spokesperson, and they made it clear that the Isai's family urged the principal and the district to tell the rest of the students and the staff and the families that it was COVID, because they just wanted to pass along the message that this is a very serious illness and that their son died from it. There is we don't have a lot more detail. I'm in contact with a relative who let me know that when I first posted the story last night, the principal included the name of the student in his email, and I didn't want to do that because, like, within the sort of the East High community, it's fine to like have that name circling around. I wasn't sure that the family would want his name kind of out there in the wider community. Now, Isai's father had done an interview with Me Wisconsin Latino, which is a news organization here in Wisconsin that does Spanish language news. They do good work. And he had given an interview to them earlier in the day, Sunday, where he's identified by his name and he identifies his son's name. But still, even that was clearly intended for a very specific community, right? For that sort of Spanish-speaking Latino community. And I didn't want to necessarily broadcast his identity until they were ready. So I did. I published a story without his name, just to say that this is happening because I knew it would get around. I wanted to create the context for it, but I really wanted to tell the story properly and respectfully. So I was able to get in touch with an aunt, Tia, and verify that they're okay if I mentioned his name. It's okay, and they were okay if I mentioned the GoFundMe that they have going to help cover the funeral expenses and that kind of thing. Apparently this happened very, very quickly, like within a couple of days. He was sick and then he was gone. And in that interview, which I have embedded on the story on our site right now, so if you understand Spanish, you can watch the interview. As his father, who's obviously distraught, and I cannot imagine what he's going through, mentioned that he got a negative test, that he was tested negative. We are working on getting that interview translated, because my Spanish is not particularly good. My wife's is much better than mine. Having grown up, in Southern California in a Mexican family, but it's a little bit difficult to understand. The Spanish they're from somewhere other than Mexico. I'm not sure exactly where, to be honest with you. I think Ecuador or Venezuela. So the accent is a little different, so it's a little hard to catch. So we're working on having it actually professionally translated, so that I can get a better sense of exactly what the story was. Because, and I have to do that because, understandably, the family doesn't want to do any more interviews. Just doesn't want to have to tell the story again and again. They told it once to me, Wisconsin. They said, well, I can translate and I can quote from that if I want to. Totally fine. So we're going to get that translated so I can get a better sense of like what the timeline was from a negative test to his ultimate passing. So I will keep you updated on that. It's a tremendously difficult story. Obviously, any fatality from this is difficult. But it's just really hard. And humanizes this disease a great deal. So with that, we will get into today's statistics with the understanding that these people we're talking about are, have names like Isaiah Moracho and have friends, have families. Now, we are coming out of a holiday weekend. So testing and reporting are both low, as they have been for the past several days. The past 3 days, we've had almost 10,000 tests a day, which, frankly, more than I expected over the holiday weekend. So as a result of, normally we're seeing 16, 17,000 tests a day. Now we're down to, 9,500, 9,600 for the weekend. But we saw fewer positive tests, but the positive test rates were still really high. Today, the testing is even lower, which it typically is on a Monday. Because really what you're seeing is like the tests that were processed yesterday and the day before. Sunday, the big Energy Center place is closed. A lot of other places are closed, so we don't get a lot of testing coming in on Sundays and Mondays. So we're just over 8,700 tests today, which is the lowest we've seen in a long time. Of those, we've had 2,534 positive cases today. That's a positive test rate for the day of about 29%, which is obviously still pretty high. Yesterday was about 40, and Saturday was over 50. It was the first time we were over 50%. Like we had more positive tests reported on Saturday than negative. So with that, the 7-day positive test rate, remember, which had been going down every day for 2 weeks, went back up from Saturday into Sunday, and it stayed the same from Sunday to today. So it's still 27.8%. And then that's the positive test rate for people. 28.7% of people tested in the past 7 days have tested positive at least once. The rate of the tests, which accounts for several people, lots of people taking multiple tests over the course of a week, is 12.3, which is actually lower than it was yesterday. It was 12.6. Still really high. That's still 4 times the rate that caused New York City to close its schools. Okay. But lower than yesterday, so that's good. The death count today is once again low. We're only seeing 6 officially reported. It does not include the high school student from Madison. Remember, it could take up to a week for a death to be reported in the state data. The only other time we've seen this where we've known about a death before it gets reported to the data was I can't remember when it was, maybe July or August, when a sheriff's deputy here died of COVID and was appropriately deemed a line of duty death. That his duties as a peace officer put him in a situation where he caught the virus and then he died. And so, but the sheriff's department here in Dane County announced that, and we didn't see him in the state data for a week. So that's how we know that it takes that long to go through the proper channels to be confirmed by everybody. So the 6 fatalities we're reporting today didn't happen yesterday or even over the weekend. They could have happened up to a week ago, especially with the holiday weekend. These could be a week, 10 days ago. So yesterday we had 22. Saturday we had 28. Friday we had 17 because the day before that was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day we had 62. So last weekend, as a reminder, on Sunday we had 0. On Monday. Sunday we had 0. Monday we had 6, just like today. Tuesday we had 104. So I would anticipate that the 6 that we have today is so low because just over the weekend there wasn't much reporting happening. And we might be well over 100 again tomorrow. Cross your fingers that we're not. Our total death toll right now is 3,313. That's about 0.9% of all confirmed cases have died. Our number of active cases went down again, which is predictable based on, you're looking at a 30-day time frame. So any cases diagnosed in the past 30 days are within that. So if you have 30 days ago, you have 6,000 cases fall off, and today we're only adding 2,500 cases. Of course, that's going to go down. I still like that it's going down, and I like that it's going down as a percentage of the total. So a week and a half ago, 22% of every case we've ever had was currently active. Today, that's 17.75%. So much better. That's still almost 69,000 cases currently active that we know about. That might go up a considerable amount tomorrow when we have a more normal day of testing. So we will see. But all of this lower numbers over the past few days has our 7-day new case average all the way down at 3,877. That was over 6,000 not very long ago. So that feels good, but I'm a little wary of that one just because that number is very much subject to the number of tests. So it can go really high when we have lots of testing and really low when we have not much testing. The better number is the average number of deaths because, again, even though those take a while to report, if you look at a 7-day average, you're looking at all the deaths that are reported eventually, right? So that's at 43 right now, which is better than it was a week ago as well. The 14-day death average is now 47. It's a little higher than the 7-day average. Number of people hospitalized today is higher than yesterday, which I don't like to see. This is another number that has been going down. It went very high. It was over 2,100 at one point, and has been going down steadily for a little over a week now, I think. Maybe even longer than that, maybe like 10 days. Today, however, it is higher than it was yesterday by 21, meaning there are now 1,845 people currently hospitalized in Wisconsin for COVID. Of those, 395 are in the ICU. That's much better than it was a while ago. That's 3 lower than yesterday. But it wasn't very long ago. That was like at 450, 460. So we'd like to see that number lower as well. We do have our hospital capacity in terms of beds is better than it was a week ago. I mean, we have statewide. Let me do some math. English major. I need a calculator. Yeah, the current ICU beds statewide are at excuse me 88% capacity, which is high, but not very long ago it was over 90. So excuse me, that's a little better than it was. I'm gonna take a look at some of the regions here real quick. Yeah, Fox Valley, for example, was at one point basically full in their ICUs. They have 104 ICU beds in the whole Fox Valley region, which is actually like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 counties. They were basically down to like one ICU bed. Now they're at 15. Okay, which is better. Which is about 14% available. So the Fox Valley availability is actually better than the whole state. When previously, recently, it was much less. Intermediate care, however, in the Fox Valley, there's only 4 beds available. So, but here's the other thing, though, to keep in mind: hospital capacity is not just about beds; it's also about staff. And I was told, that when you're down to it in the practical world, a COVID patient basically takes the resources of 2 or 3 regular patients. So the way it was given to me was that the CEO of Prevent Health up in Green Bay said, if we get 10 new COVID patients, that's like 30 new patients in terms of the number of people it takes to care for them and the time it takes, because it's an intensive process to get all just to gear up with the PPE and all that stuff. So and hospital staffs are thin. Hospital staffs are getting sick. Hospital staffs are being exposed and therefore having to quarantine and not able to come into work. So it's tough, even though our hospitalization numbers are down. It doesn't, and our bed count is higher. It doesn't necessarily mean we're out of the woods in terms of hospitals. Now, let me take a look. Sorry, I forgot to do this earlier. The alternative care facility. This is good news. The alternative care facility in Milwaukee, the field hospital, is down to 6 patients now. That was over 20 at one point. Not too long ago. So that's the kind of the overflow of patients go there. So that's good that that's down to only 6. It's dispiriting that we need it. It's frustrating that we even need to have that thing there, and that 6 people are using it to stay well and safe. But it's better to have 6 than 25 or whatever it was. Okay, so if there are any other questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I will finish up with a thing or two here. We'll talk about where the deaths occurred today. Waukesha County had 2, and then Wood, Rock, Milwaukee, and Bayfield counties each had 1. So a mix of urban and rural counties reporting fatalities today. In terms of new cases, we had 4 counties: Iowa, Iron, Kewaunee, and Pepin, all reported 0 new cases today. And leading the way in terms of cases per capita is Florence County, 5 new cases, but Florence County is so rural, so sparsely populated, that 5 new cases translates to 117 new cases per 100,000 residents, which is the highest per capita rate today. Literally the whole first page of highest per capita, the top 15 are all rural counties. But that's also, again, because Milwaukee and Dane County are not testing as much. So that even those comparative numbers can be skewed a little bit just by the fact that there's not as much testing happening. Okay, that is what I have for you today. If you are around this evening, we're going to have a special treat for you. We we are taping we're taping the podcast tonight, and that'll be out in the morning. It's only 10 minutes. That'll have all the news. We'll have an update, I hope, on that story from Madison East, as well as some other news for you. If you had a chance, I highly recommend this week's Black Oxygen podcast. If you go to Madison365.org/Black Oxygen or Madison365.org/podcasts, or just Madison365.org. It's still on the front page. The Black Oxygen podcast this week is an interview with Sabrina Madison, also known as Hey Miss Progress. She is the founder of the Black Women's Leadership Conference and the Black Friday Black Business Expo, and most recently the Progress Center for Black Women. And she is a tremendously energetic, thoughtful, smart leader, passionate, and everything she says. Like, I'm not even talking about just this interview. I'm talking about everything Sabrina says. You go like, oh, that makes so much sense, which cannot be said for everybody in the world, right? So Angela Russell and Sabrina Madison, one-on-one and Black Oxygen. It's a terrific interview. Definitely download it, listen to it. I'm also going to be having a story next week, or later this week, about Black Oxygen, because Black Oxygen, the podcast, has now passed 10,000 downloads, which is kind of an important first milestone for a new podcast. So that's kind of fun. Okay, that is all I have for you today once again. And tune in tonight. We'll have a special treat for you right here on Facebook Live or Periscope or YouTube Live, wherever you are watching. We'll be probably around 9-ish. Tune in. It'll be fun. A little surprise for you. And until then, or until tomorrow, if I don't see you tonight, enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll talk to you soon.
This is 365 Media.